All right, so this one's going to walk you through like a couple months. All right, suppose you have a credit card with an APR of 22%. You begin with a balance of $1,000. So again, your previous debt is $1,000. You make a payment of $300 the first month. And then you still charge another $100 to the account. So you add to your debt by $100. You make a second payment, so the second month. You make a payment of $200, reduce it, but then you also add $150 in charges. So we want to figure out, well, how much will your credit card debt be and how much finance charge will you be? All right, so for the month one, the previous balance was $1,000. Your payment was $300. Your purchases was $100. All right, so now the finance charge. Well, you take the how much you owe times your APR. So you first have to figure that out. So you take your 1,000 minus your 300 plus your additional 100. So you still owe $800. All right, so that's what you're going to get your finance charge for month one. So you take your 800 times your percent, which is 22, divide by 12, which comes out to be $14.67 in interest. So $14.67. Your new balance would be the $14.67 plus the 800. So $814.67 is what you now owe. The second month, so I'm going to erase this so I have room to do my sort of side work. Alright, so second month, your balance was whatever the balance was the previous month, so $814.67. You make a payment of $200, but then you add $150 to your debt. So for the second month, to figure out your finance charge, well, you have to add up what your balance is. You take the $814.67 minus the $200 payment plus the $150. All right, comes out to $767.67 is what you still owe. So when you do your finance charge, you take your 76767 times your 0.22 divided by 12, your monthly interest rate. So the charge is $14.01. So you're going to add the $14.01 to your $767.67, so that's going to be your new balance, 778.69. So you still owe $778.69. All right, minimum monthly payment. So we're going to talk about minimum monthly payments next. All right, minimum monthly payment. Most credit cards, if you've ever had a credit card, on your statement it says you owe this amount and you have to pay at least this monthly minimum. And it usually is either a fixed amount or a fixed amount based on the percent you owe. If you make only this minimum payment, your balance will decrease, but it will decrease very, very, very slowly. Alright, and so this formula, which again it is on the formula sheet if you go look, there's the credit cards, alright, for the balance when you're making your minimum payments. Alright, so in order to figure out how much you still owe after T minimum payments, and this is assuming that you're not adding to your debt, so there's no additional charges, you're just slowly paying off your debt by making minimum payments. Alright, so R is the monthly interest rate, so remember the monthly interest rate, it's the APR divided by 12, APR is a decimal. M is the minimum monthly payment, so how much that the bank or the credit card is set up as a monthly payment, and often it's a percent of the balance. It's a percent of what you owe. Both of those need to be, it's a percent, so both of those need to be in decimal form when we put them in the formula. Alright, so putting it into practice. Suppose that you owe $7,000 on your Discover card. You decide you're not going to use it anymore, you cut it up, and you're only going to make the minimum payments to slowly pay your debt off. Alright, so you're going to make your minimum monthly payment. That's required. It's required for you to do that, otherwise they will hit you harder with more finance stuff. Assume Discover charges 25% APR. Each month you make only the minimum payment, which is 4% of your balance, so 4% of what you owe. Right, that's the minimum monthly payment. So first I'm going to figure out R. R is 0.25 divided by 12. Oh, which that doesn't simplify. That comes out. And M is the percent you owe, right? The percent on your balance. So that's M. That's what M represents. Right? M is the minimum monthly payment as a percent of the balance. That's what M is. All right, but again, you have to do both of them in decimal form. All right, find the formula. So again, we basically just plug it into this formula here, being careful with the parentheses. There are 3 sets of parentheses. There's the big set, which has T on the outside, and then there's the 2 little sets inside. All right, so just to emphasize that, I'm going to excuse me. All right, so the balance that you had, 7,000, times parentheses. So there's a big set of parentheses that has a T on the outside. Then there's 2 little sets. All right, the little sets are where the R and the M go. So the first one is 1 plus your R, 0.25 divided by 12, times 1 minus the M. All right, and then I'm actually going to multiply this out. I'm going to multiply it out exactly. So I'm going to take 1 parentheses, 1 plus 2.5 divided by 12 times, parentheses, 1 minus 0.4 to simplify the formula. All right, so the balance is 7,000 times, and this multiplies out actually nicely to 0.98 raised to the T. All right. T represents the number of monthly payments. So the next question is, what's the balance after 6 monthly payments? So in this case, T is 6. We're going to make 6. For the next 6 months, we're going to make our monthly payment, our minimum monthly payment. Well, how much will we still owe after 6 months? That's what this represents. We plug it into this formula. So B equals 7,000 times 0.98 raised to the 6 comes out to be, we still owe $6,200.90 of the 7,000. So we paid off about $800 over the 6 months. It took us 6 months to pay $800 of our debt. All right, we'll go ahead and do the last example. All right, suppose that you have a credit card with an APR of 24%. The minimum payment is 5% of the balance. Suppose that you have a balance of $1,500. So again, you owe $1,500. You decide to stop charging and pay it off by making minimum payments each month. Calculate the new balance after we have made our first minimum payment. So R is 0.24 divided by 12. Well, actually, that R comes out nicely to 0.02. M is 0.05, right? 5% of the balance. So our new balance is 1,500. 1 plus R, so 1.02, times 1 minus M raised to the T. So remember, the T is outside. The 1.02 is times the 1 minus 0.05. And so you do that multiplication, leave the answer exact. It goes out 3 decimal places, leave it exact. So it's 1,500 times 0.969 raised to the T. All right. So the first minimum payment, so it means calculate the new balance after we've made our first. So T is just 1 in that case. T is 1. So you take your 1,500 times that 90. So it means you've paid off 5% and you've left the rest plus interest. So you've got your 1,500 times your 0.969 comes out to be, you still owe $14,053.50 after the end of the first month. All right, calculate the new balance if we've made 10. So for 10 months, almost a year, a little less than a year, we made the minimum payment. How much do we still owe? And so this time T is 10. So use the same formula. My new balance is our 1,500 times 0.1969 0.969 raised to the 10 comes to be, we still owe $1,094.79 if I round to the penny. So even after 10 months, we still owe over $1,000, which means we've only paid off a little bit more than $400. Calculate the balance after 2 years. So again, make sure you're careful. 2 years, we need the months, right? Because we're going to make monthly payments. 2 years is 24 months, all right? 12 times 2. So T is going to be 24. So new balance. How much do I still owe if all I do, I don't make any more new purchases? I owed $1,500, not even $15,000, $1,500, and I made payments every month for 2 years. Your hope would be you don't owe much left, but as it turns out, you're going to owe more than you think because that credit card percent is so high. All right, so how much do we still owe in 24 months? We still owe about half of it still. We still owe 7. So even after 2 years of making minimum payments, because the interest rate is so high. So again, most of the minimum payments is really just going to the interest rate. So 2 years later, we still owe almost half of the debt. The $1,500. We still owe $704. When will, so now we're looking for a time. So in this case, we're actually going to have to throw back and go back and remember to use our logarithm equations. So remember, when we have a equals b to the t, we solve that by taking the log of a divided by the log of b. That's going to give me my t. Alright, so we're going to use that formula when we solve it. So we want our balance to be 500. So 500 equals our 1,500, 0.969 raised to the t. So before I get started, I have to get it in this form, so I have to divide out the 1,500. So this simplifies to 1/3, leave it exactly 1/3 equals our 0.969 raised to the t. So 1/3 is our a, the 0.969 is our b. So to solve this, t equals log of 1/3 divided by log of the 0.969. And so how long will it take us to go down to $500? Well, 34.8, so I'm going to round up to the next month. So 35 months. Alright, so again, well over the 2 years, right? If we take our 35 divided by 12, it's almost 3 years, right? 2.91, right? The 36th month would put us in the 3 years. So it almost takes us 3 years to take our $1,500 and get it down to 1/3 of that. All right, well, when will we only owe $100? So same question. So 100 equals our 1,500, 0.969 raised to the t. So first thing I have to do is get it in this form. So divide out the 1,500, which simplifies to 1/15. So leave it exactly 1/15 equals the 0.969 raised to the t, which means when I solve it, t is the log of 1/15 divided by the log of the 0.969. And so how long will it take to take my debt of $1,500 down to $100 if all I'm doing is making the minimum payment? Round up to the whole month. It's 85.9995, so 86 months, which is about 7 years. It takes 7 years to pay off a credit card balance of $1,500 if all you're doing is making the minimum payments. Alright, so again, it's never to your advantage to make minimum payments. It sounds good, but you're incurring so much interest because the interest rates are so high that it will take a lifetime to pay off really high debt. So if you owed, like, instead of $1,500, you owed like $15,000 in credit card debt. It would take you 50 years to pay it off if all you're doing is making the minimum payments. All right, we're stopped there. We're all done. That finishes up 4.4.